Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're building the ultimate playbook for the modern teacher. We've gone through a ton of graduate-level education research to really boil it down to the essential skills, the right tools, and the kind of mindset you need to create a classroom that really works in the 21st century. And we're going to kick things off with this quote from Ralph Waldo Emerson, because it's really the foundation for this whole playbook. Education trends come and go, but this is such a critical reminder. If you only learn specific methods, you're stuck. But if you truly understand the principles behind learning, you can innovate, you can adapt to any student, any classroom, any challenge that comes your way. So here's how we're going to break it down. We'll start by looking at what the modern classroom even looks like now. Then we'll dive into the huge role that language and culture play. After that, we'll pinpoint the skills students absolutely need today, check out the digital tools that can help teach them, and finally bring it all together to see how technology can create a classroom that truly includes every single student. Okay, let's dive right in. Our journey begins with the classroom itself, which, let's be honest, has been completely changed by globalization. To be an effective teacher today, you first have to get a handle on this new world we're all living in. You've probably heard the old idea of the cultural melting pot, right? The idea that everyone's differences were supposed to just dissolve into one big thing. Well, today, a much better way to think about it is the salad bowl. Each culture, each background is a unique ingredient. It adds its own flavor, its own texture to the mix. And while that makes the classroom incredibly rich and exciting, it also means new challenges for teachers trying to navigate all those diverse backgrounds and languages. And this new salad bowl classroom, it demands a totally different way of teaching. We're making a huge shift away from that old model, the teacher at the front of the room, just drilling facts for rote memorization. Now, it's all about a learner-centered approach that champions critical thinking, teamwork, and a real awareness of the world. So, if the classroom has changed so much, what about the students in it? To really understand them, we have to start at the very beginning, with the absolute cornerstone of culture and communication, language. Think about this for a second. There are over 6,000 languages spoken in the world today, and each one is so much more than just a bunch of words. It's like a unique lens for seeing reality. I mean, some languages have dozens of words for snow because it's just that important to their environment. It literally shapes how they interact with their world. And what's just fascinating is that even with all that diversity, the way kids acquire language follows this amazingly predictable pattern. A child's vocabulary just explodes from maybe 450 words at age 2 to over 10,000 by the time they start school. It's an absolutely incredible cognitive journey. Now, this brings us to a really crucial point about how we think about different ways of speaking. A dialect isn't a mistake. It's not bad English. It's a completely logical, rule-based system of communication. So for the modern teacher, the job isn't to correct a student's home dialect, but to respect it, to validate it, and then to build a bridge to the other forms of English they'll need in more formal settings. Okay, so we've looked at the learner. Now let's shift our focus to what we actually need to teach them. In this totally interconnected world, it's not just about knowing facts anymore. It's about being competent. The whole focus has shifted from what students know to what they can do with what they know. We're teaching a whole suite of core skills now, everything from critical thinking and communication to digital literacy. And they all point toward one big goal, creating adaptable, lifelong learners who are ready for pretty much any global challenge you can throw at them. And let's be super clear about what digital literacy really is. It is not just about knowing which buttons to click. It's about thinking critically in a digital world. Can you tell a good source from a bad one? Can you communicate responsibly online? Can you navigate these spaces ethically? It's really become a foundational skill for being a citizen in the modern world. So, if we're teaching all these new skills, it only makes sense that we're going to need a new set of tools, right? So let's turn our attention to the teacher's digital toolkit and see how technology is actually getting woven into the fabric of the classroom. This framework from UNESCO is a great way to think about it. It really captures the journey schools take with technology. You start at the emerging stage, where everyone's just learning the basics, and you move all the way up to the transforming stage, where technology isn't just a tool anymore, it's used to completely rethink and renew the whole educational experience.
And the tools available now are just so powerful. You've got platforms like Kahoot that can turn an assessment into a fun game show and give teachers instant feedback. You've got collaborative spaces like Google Drive that basically tear down the classroom walls for group projects. And then there are virtual labs where students can run complex science experiments that would be way too dangerous or expensive to do in a real school.
And this all brings us to what is maybe the most important point in this entire playbook. How all these things, the global classroom, the new skills, the digital tools, how they all come together to support every single student, especially those who need it most. Let's start with a really powerful story from the research. There is a teacher named Runu who needed to explain a concept to two of her students who were hearing impaired. So, using just her cell phone, she made a little movie. And what she found was amazing. The tools she used to include those two students actually made the lesson better for everyone in the class. Reinu's story isn't just a nice anecdote. It perfectly illustrates what the research confirms again and again. Technology gives students a real shot at independent learning. It lets them work at their own pace. It can unlock potential in kids who struggle to communicate. And ultimately, it just boosts their confidence. It's a game changer. The whole field dedicated to this is called assistive technology, or AT. And its purpose is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly profound. It's all about bridging the gap between what a student is able to do and what the classroom asks them to do, making sure they have every tool they need to succeed. And these AT solutions are all over the map. For students with vision needs, you might have screen readers or braille writers. For communication, there are things like picture boards or speech-to-text software. AT covers this huge spectrum of needs, all to make sure every single child can be a full participant in their own education. So here it is. The big takeaway is this. Technology is not just an add-on. It's not a gimmick. When it's used with purpose, it is the key to building a truly inclusive, truly equitable educational system where every single student feels valued and is empowered to learn. And so we'll leave you with this one question to think about. As our classrooms and our technology keep evolving at a dizzying pace, what is the one timeless, uniquely human skill that will always, always define a great teacher? Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer.